Hey guys, Steve and Tony here, and I am back with a new video. And for this one, I wanted to talk about finally sitting down and watching my first Takashi Miike film. Now, I'd heard of him for years, heard of him from quite a few other YouTubers, including, Donny, Cinemaniac 77, and a few others, yes. And I also read about him on the IMDb and a few other places. Was very reluctant to check out any of his films because I heard they were really gory, and that he had this almost obsessive penchant for a hell of a lot of blood squibs and blood packs. So yeah, I kind of avoided him for all those years, and finally, I am on a special project right now, and one of the films that I am going to be writing about in the very near future is this one. Yeah, and this is Graveyard Honor. It's a remake of the Kinji Fukasaku film of the same or similar name. Miike himself apparently described this as a not so much scene for scene remake, but it was a blatant remake that shared a lot of the similar details to the original, which I still have to see. Actually, the only reason I started with this one was for the, I like it's for the special project I'm doing, and yeah. Basically, how did I feel about it overall? Well, it started out very strong, very interesting, very kind of, poetic and interesting. But after about, I'll say, an hour and 20 or so minutes, it started to drag like hell. It was almost like watching a train wreck those last, 30 to 40 minutes, and maybe that's how Miike intended it from the start. He wanted this guy's slow and agonizing demise to be as painful as possible. And I will say on that note, he succeeded. Is this a film I would rewatch? Yeah, maybe in a few years, just to see if my opinions changed, obviously. But as of right now, it is good, but it does go a little slow burn the last 40 minutes or so. Yeah, basically it's about this guy. That's I can never recall his name in the script. Film. Oh yeah. Ishimatsu, played by Goro. Hold on. Let's see. Goro Yoshitani. Yes. It starts off with him in prison, and he tells the guard nearest to his cell that he soiled himself and that he needs to either wash his clothes or air dry them. So the guard takes him up. Ishimatsu punches him in the face, kicks him down the stairs, and then goes to a rooftop, looking like he's gonna jump off of it, and then it pretty much goes into flashback. You see him starting out as a punk blonde haired guy, like washing dishes at a yakuza run bar and restaurant, and he ends up saving a crime boss's life by hitting an assassin over the head with a chair, and he's automatically given a good position, and he's seen as a soldier, and consequently things go to crap afterwards. He gets cocky and arrogant. He ends up blatantly trying to knife this guy whom his boss is having trouble with. He's not cooperating on trying to get down to a lesser charge, like saying it'll make him look weak if he does, and just all this crazy stuff. And then at one point in the film, he breaks. Tries to kill a few of the people in the family. The only guy ever consistently loyal to him is this fella he served time with in the pen. His first stint. And even he's kind of unsure if he can kind of keep him under control. He just he's just all over the place. The ultimate mean kid, bad seed. Was gonna end up in a life of crime probably anyway. And he just he goes overboard. He tries heroin. Gets hooked like a hooked like a fish. On it. Gets his common law wife hooked on it, and it just turns into this utter train wreck. We're seeing every vestige of this guy's life get just thrown down like the gutter, because he couldn't control because he couldn't control because he couldn't control himself. It's still a good, a good film. The first hour or so, does a pretty decent job chronicling, his quick, his quick rise as well as his quick fall. Really well, but then Miike just takes his time too much. Goro Shishitani is great in the lead role of Ishimatsu. Even from the get go, he just looks like a guy who doesn't give a damn about anything. He just lives in every moment. Never thinking ahead or thinking about what he should or shouldn't be doing. And we just see him rise quickly and then fall equally quickly, really. Really, only the latter is just a very painful, hard to watch, bit. Shishitani really embodies this guy well. He looks dead even, in the early goings when he's just starting out as a gangster. He just he hasn't got hollow eyes or anything yet in it. As he does in the still here. Here, but he just he doesn't look like he cares about anything. It's almost like he's just going through through the motions, and this isn't Kishitani, it's the character. But he just he embodies it so well. This is my first time seeing him in a film, and he does really well at this role. I mean, he just shows him as a guy, who's totally screwed himself up, in the most, Machiavellian existential way that you could think of. Think of, and the even sadder thing is that he's dragging everybody down with him, who floats into his orbit, his girlfriend, slash common law wife, the only guy who ever looked past every stupid fault he had, who he couldn't even stop to think hey maybe I shouldn't be doing this to anybody. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I was quite surprised at at how little violence there was for the most part. There was only a few scenes throughout where Miike uses the big squibs. It's not really until the last 20 minutes that he finally goes to his trademark, and just not only gets at the squibs, but bucket of blood too. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of a more modern Yakuza film, one made after the 80s, I want to say one of the more modern takes on the Yakuza, this is pretty good. It romanticizes them a little bit in that they do have a certain sense of loyalty to each other, but at the same time don't put up with somebody being a loose cannon and a liability, because essentially how he screws himself over is he believes the only time he ever asks anybody for anything, he gets the brush off, which and this isn't really a spoiler per se, because it's mentioned at the very start of the film. Basically, it's the most ironic, and tragically funny reason for why he heads off the deep end. It's just a simple misunderstanding. Somebody didn't give him the right information, and he just goes off the wall. Yeah. Overall, it's a really good character piece essentially. I mean, for the most part, it's audience friendly, but at the heart, it is a character study of this utter gutter snipes time in the mob, or the Yakuza in this case. You know, and yeah, Goro Takashi Tana, is a good throwback to the old school guys. If you kind of look at him here, he's almost like a cross. It's like somebody took elements from Toshiro Mifune's face, Cameron Mitchell's face, and John Garfield's face, and molded them together. And this face is the result of that. And yeah, I could totally have seen him doing a more period gangster piece. Even an American noir, if they still had been getting made. Yeah. Yeah. Overall, I would give this a solid B plus. Again, I might change my mind in a year or two if I get around to watching it again. Quickly. But yeah, I'm not disappointed or anything. Miike's direction, is really good. Good. You know, um, some scenes look like your, typical shots, and in others, it's almost like a it's almost like a documentary. Crew is following him around, and yeah, he also does take a couple of scenes here or there to actually break the attention and give the audience a laugh. Like there's a scene after he gets hooked on heroin when he's gotten ratted on I won't say how or by who, but he gets ratted on. The only the only on-screen detective shown in the film gets the SWAT team out. They launch a gas. They launch a laughing gas grenade into the building he's hiding out in, and he is so strung out on heroin. He comes out just in his boxer shorts, coughing like he accidentally left coughing like it's a grill fire. Like he's like so strung out. He's not even feeling the effects of the gas. And he starts shooting them up. And he starts firing his guns all over the place. Even acting all cartoonish in the process, which I actually thought was very well done. I mean, it's a bit like deadpan because he acts like it's normal, but it works. It's really good. So yeah, that's really all I want to say about the film. I don't want to give too much away, but if like you have seen it, oh yeah, it is good. If like you haven't seen it, definitely give it a check. Out a check out. Maybe you won't find it a slow pace towards the end as I did. But hey, everyone's got a different experience. And yeah, like that's it. Uh, thank you for watching. Please leave a comment down below if you like. If like you've seen the film. If you haven't, are there any other Takashi Miike films I should be checking out. Like, is this a good one to start with? What you did like about the film, like what you didn't, and yeah. And if you could, please leave a like as well. It does help the channel greatly. And if you haven't already and would like to, please hit that subscribe button and bell notification, like that subscribe button and bell notification button to receive more content like this. And yes, thanks again for watching. Hope you all enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care, everybody. Bye.